This is Beyond a Reasonable Doubt with your hosts, Mark Garrigus and Gary Smith.
It just never gets old. Awesome, Dawson. Smoking kills. He's the best. We've got a jam-packed couple of minutes here, I'll tell you. We could start with the missing girl in the van story. You want to give a brief description?
Absolutely. So a couple of young kids in their early 20s decide, a boyfriend and girlfriend, originally from Long Island, but they've since moved to Florida, decide we're going to take a trip across the country, and we're going to, they converted a van. They documented it all on YouTube. So they've got one of these little kind of, the van you would see a contractor use, a small minivan, but they've converted it with a bed and all this stuff. They're going across country. They're documenting it on YouTube. They're documenting it on Twitter and Instagram. And then at some point, the girl stops communicating with her mother, and the mother becomes concerned. A few days go by. Maybe she's in the mountains. They were going up into Wyoming. Maybe they don't have service. And then at a certain point, the boy arrives back home at his parents' house in Florida. No girl. Girl's nowhere to be found. The parents of her understandably become concerned. Police reports get filed. Cops go to try to talk to the kid. His parents say no, which I'm confused by because he's 22. What do his parents have the right to say that? They take the van, and that's kind of where we stand. There's been some body cam footage that was released from an interaction that they had with police sometime before she went missing, where they had a dispute, and apparently she admitted to hitting him, but everyone confirmed that he had not hit her. And now we're just sort of watching this all unravel.
Right. This is an interesting play that usually happens in these missing persons, especially young women. The parents said, no, he's not going to talk. Then he hired a lawyer. The lawyer gave him some pretty good advice, which is he's not talking. You guys have already got him in your sights. He may have known, the lawyer may have known, if his client had told him that, hey, the police were called when we were in Utah. She had hit me. She was having a mental breakdown. That's what the police reports at least tend to suggest. The timeline of the release of the body cam, the police didn't release that until after the lawyer said he's not talking. So that was a way to kind of gin up the public pressure on him to talk. The lawyer, I think, made a very smart legal move. Obviously, he's going to get vilified in the media, but that's not his concern. His concern is he's got a client, obviously, he's consulted with. Client probably told him there is this video out there, or we got confronted by the police. I can think of a million scenarios that I know everybody says, well, if he was innocent, why wouldn't he talk? That is the road to being convicted if you're innocent and sentenced to life in prison. I can think of many a scenario where potentially he is innocent, where after she slapped him and was having a mental break, that he just decided, that's it, I'm out of here. I don't want to get into another situation, which would be consistent with innocence. Then the response is going to be, somebody's going to say, well, then why doesn't he just tell the cops that? Because the cops aren't going to be satisfied with that. One way around this kind of what I consider to be nettlesome problem is the lawyer could do what's called a lawyer proffer. The lawyer could talk to his client, he could find out some facts, and he could strike a deal with the investigators and say, I'm going to tell you what I would expect my client to say, and A, B, C, and D.
Sure.
Who knows if he's done that already or not. But I will tell you that the police report and the fact that she struck him and that he did not strike her, which is what is being reported, tends to favor him, at least in this case, in terms of him not being responsible for anything. And hopefully nothing ever happened. Hopefully she's still alive.
Well, I have a friend, we have a mutual friend who floated something this morning that I had not really seen floated before. And I thought it was interesting, if nothing else, but she posited that maybe they were attempting to gain some social media fame, and it got out of hand before they knew what was going on. And maybe there's something nefarious at work here. But the way I know, Mark, you and I have been following this story for 5 or 6 days now. We just haven't had a chance to get to it because there's been so much news going on and unreasonable.
I mean, we haven't even been able to talk about Murdaugh today. So, I mean, it
2 minutes.
shows you.
We're getting there. But the way I know that this story has to be something that we cover is about an hour ago, my wife walked into my office and said, "Are you covering this van case with the girl?" And okay, well, if it's gotten to her, then it's going to be news. And, it's the media always is held to account because they like to focus on, good-looking young women, oftentimes white, in cases like this.
I was going to say, but I'm glad you brought it up. I used to say I was on speedy dial, and I've been doing interviews all day today because anytime there's a missing, attractive white woman, the media gloms onto it.
Yeah, and she fits the bill. I mean, she's a cute young girl, and the guy's 24 or 25, whatever it is, and they're just it's a story that we will be covering here on Reasonable Doubt going forward. But you just pointed out that we did not talk about Murdaugh in our big show this week. And I sat there the whole time trying to figure out a way to open my mic and be like, all right, stop. We have to talk about this. And it just wasn't happening. Adam was, that rant that Adam did has been nominated for Rant of the Year on ACS. It was a great show, but Murdaugh, we got to talk.
This story, and my friend Dick Harpootlian, who's the lawyer for Murdaugh, has really, I think, done a masterful job in an almost impossible situation. I mean, for those who don't know this case, his wife and one of his sons were murdered several months ago. Then, maybe 2 weeks ago, he resigned from his firm because they had found that he had allegedly embezzled millions, or what could be millions of dollars, based on a forensic audit. Then, as it turns out, there was an attempt on his life, which now, at least arguably, if you believe law enforcement and his lawyers, he had been involved with, because allegedly he was trying to have somebody take his life so that his remaining surviving son, Buster, could get the $10 million insurance policy. That apparently went awry, allegedly. Mr. Smith, who was his erstwhile client and a alleged drug dealer, was indicted earlier this week. And then Mr. Murdaugh surrendered yesterday, Thursday, or when this drops, maybe day before yesterday, and I believe bailed out on $20,000 or not?
$20,000 on his own recognizance. So I don't think he actually had to put anything up, and he was not required to wear a GPS, which was something the prosecution was asking for. But he was ordered, $20,000 on his own recognizance, give up your passport, and if you leave the rehab facility without the judge's approval, then a bench warrant will be issued.
Yeah, which is an interesting. It's an interesting result there. He apparently is confessing or admitting to a multi-year, maybe 20, as much as 20-year opioid addiction. I still think that if that is the basis for the defense to the embezzlement, that there's more to unpack there, because I don't think you need millions of dollars to fund your opioid habit. I think there's more going on there.
It sounds like there is, and it sounds like from people that are in the know down there, some of the reporters, it seems like there are a lot of quotes saying things like, if the Murdaugh family goes down, the whole county goes down, and this will just have wide-ranging ripple effects. As we predicted, we were kind of early money on this, even before some of the podcasts that have dedicated themselves to this. There is more to this story, and every week more happens. I mean, the idea they've now opened up an investigation on the death of his housekeeper, Murdaugh's housekeeper, and he had apparently cut a deal with the two sons of his housekeeper that required him to pay, I think, just shy of $500,000, maybe $475. Yeah, which was never funded. We don't know whether that had something to do with any of this, but those kids, by the way, those kids who were repped by one of his former associates and close friends. So there's a little bit of a conflict of interest there. Apparently one of those kids is special needs, and they are desperately need the money, and it's been 3 years since the deal was cut. It's a mess.
Yeah, it's been it's quite a story. So there's, by my count, at least 3 separate murder investigations out of this one case. There is the boating accident. There is another suspicious murder. There is the murder of the mother and the son and the housekeeper. Maybe
that's
4.
Yeah, that's 4. And then the shooting of Alex himself. So if you add attempted murder, we got 5. And then
but who needs to go to attempted when you've already got the
well, I don't know. I think it's fun to go down the list. The drug dealer was also charged with felony pointing, which is, that's good stuff.
It's just wild. It's just wild. I think we may on Tuesday just do the whole show dedicated to either Murdaugh or Utah, the Utah missing girl van, because both of these have, as you say, both have permeated the consciousness here.
I couldn't agree more. I mean, we've got Boy Neutron, who's bugging us in the group chat to come back and talk about the Rams NFL case, which we'll get to at some point. I don't know. He's pushy. I don't know if I want to get.
I know he's very pushy.
He's got better hair than me, and he's pushing me in the group chat. Calm down.
I love it. Well, Gary, as always, it's a pleasure. Thank you.
Likewise, my man. You have a great weekend, and we will see you next week for more Beyond a Reasonable Doubt.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thanks for listening to Beyond a Reasonable Doubt. Stay tuned for more bonus episodes coming soon.